back type of vibe today, but my hair doesn't cooperate. Also, it's raining ice, but also just water. Well, ice is water, but you know what I mean? It's like a mix going on here, which isn't, my favorite kind of weather, but it is what it is. So if you can hear that, enjoy. I think it's quite soothing, actually. What are we doing today? Well, as seen by my title, we're talking some drama in the booktube community. Starting with a car. Starting with our beloved Jack Edwards finding himself in what people are saying is a scam. And then I want to move on to someone by the name of Eliza Grace who writes her own poetry, who is, it's not her own poetry is what I'm trying to hint at. She is plagiarizing and making a profit off of it. Quite a big profit, I think, from the way her analytics are. But before we get into all that, let's start with Jack Edwards. I just watched the latest Jack Edwards video where they are frolicking in Edinburgh in Scotland. It was a good video, and scrolling through the comments as one does when watching YouTube, there were some people who were like, Jack, why are you deleting all the comments talking about this and that? And I was like, huh? I thought it was just someone trying to bring in some drama. And then keep scrolling, and there's just so many people talking about Jack deleting comments and him running a scam and just, so I went and I looked it up. And it turns out there's this Reddit post that basically goes over Jack's memberships for his YouTube channel, which YouTube does do memberships. It's different than just subscribing. You pay an extra some set amount by the creator for some extra perks. For Jack's, it is 2 separate memberships. One's called paperback, the other's called hardback. You get perks like loyalty badges next to your name and comments and lives. You get custom emojis. You can interact with member-only polls and priority replies to comments. That's for paperback. And then hardback, you get a members-only Discord server, monthly Q&A, and then a bring your own book live stream. Someone on Reddit who wants everyone to know not to send hate to Jack, and obviously I do too. Please don't send hate to Jack. This is a good learning experience, I think, for everyone, as long as it's addressed quickly, which kind of hasn't been, but there has been an update as of today. Long story short, Jack hasn't been able to meet his membership perks. So the monthly Q&A, he hasn't done. Bring your own books, he's done 1, except it was open to non-members as well to raise money for the earthquakes in Turkey and Syria and in those places that were affected, which I have so many thoughts that I'm trying to reel in so things are coherent and in a good storyline. I kind of want to skim over this. If you want to read the Reddit post, just search it up, because I can't link it at the moment, but it's titled Warning About Jack Edwards Subscription. It's a scam. And I do think scam is a bit of a questionable word. But basically, this person was a member of Jack's channel, and they brought up how they weren't really getting the perks that they was promised, and they reached out to Jack. Jack said, thank you for your patience and your kind message. Working on it with technical difficulties and this and that. And so things were sort of looking up, but only a few things. So Discord, which is promised a members-only Discord, was pretty bare bones. Jack doesn't really understand Discord. He's mentioned that, and so there was no mods, no like roles, or kind of like fancy setup that you'd see in most creator Discords, which isn't terrible. The Redditor said that it fit for what they needed and what they had going, but it just, could have been better. There was also supposed to be daily questions that, were to be given daily to prompt something in one of the, I think it's the hardcover perks, that just weren't, they started off daily and then they kind of got more sparse and then they sort of like stopped showing up entirely. And then, let's see. It doesn't seem like, Jack did respond to the Redditor's message saying thank you for the kind and understanding message and also for your patience. He apologized, explained that there was a technical issue that was now fixed, even though he could have communicated that through Discord or done a live stream chat on there. And said that content was coming as soon as he got back from his trip to Dublin, where he was receiving an award of some kind, and he said he would film and post an extra long Q&A to make up for it. We thought that would be the end of it. And I'm reading from the Reddit post. Since that message was sent on the 7th of this month, so exactly 2 months since the launch of the subscription, which was launched in December, he has ignored our messages on Discord and hasn't posted any daily questions or any of the content he offered. It has now been nearly 3 weeks since that message was posted, and he's done nothing to remedy the situation or take accountability. At this point, he's made a minimum of £3,000 and has produced zero of the content he promised us. They go on and say that they understand he might be busy or going through something, but the fact of the matter is that he's still offering a service to his fans that he's not capable of fulfilling for whatever reason. And then there has been an update. He released a very long and equally overdue Q&A for the members he gave us an unlisted link for. He had a pretty long description where he attempted to explain everything. In this, he said that his membership has clearly not worked out the way he intended, and that he took on far too much work than he was capable of. He said that he prioritized his channel's content for all subscribers and that would be happy with that too. He realizes now that he should have focused on member content. Redditor says, I have an issue with this, he made a mistake. I agree, that is a mistake. Like, when you first launch something, you want it to be really nice and good and something that will, you want your subscribers to, enjoy and feel like it's worth it. So I understand him taking off, biting off more than he could chew. But yes, my problem here lies in the lack of communication. That is another thing. Having a bring your own book, which was the live stream Jack did on Instagram for the Turkey Syria earthquake donations, having not had a bring your own book live stream already for your members and it's been about 3 months since you've launched your members subscription thing with perks, is kind of not a good thing, not a good look. But it being for donations, like if you would have just let your members know, like, hey, this will be our first bring your own book, except I'm opening it to non-members because I want to raise money for a good cause, like obviously they're bound to be okay with it. It just would have been nice for communication. Oh yes, a YouTuber named Nerdy Nurse Reads uploaded a video following my original post. And that is where I came from, giving summarized research from her and then a summary from the Reddit post. He did say that he will be shutting down the channel membership. I looked today, and like I said, the last update I think was today, so it's obviously going to take some time for YouTube to take down the memberships, I'm pretty sure. I haven't actually pressed join to see if I managed to go through all the paywalls, but if he is shutting down, then that's good. I don't think he needs to shut down entirely. I think having the paperback subscription, where it's like emoji perks, is still an okay type of thing. And if he reworks a Discord to something better, get some moderators, or, you know, have it not just be the bare bones and fit that into the paperback membership, it could be fine. I know a lot of creators have that as their bare minimum membership subscription, and I don't think it's horrible. For like, I think it's about £2 or $2 for that. It's good enough. But before all this, actually, the pricing was about £20. I don't know if that was for both of the perks or memberships in total, or if that was just for one. And if what's been listed as the perks was what was going to be in the $20 or £20 membership, I do think that would have been the scam. I don't think any of that is worth $20. Not just that would feel like money grabbing to me. I think the only problem I have with this is the fact that there was a lack of communication and the seeming that Jack is deleting comments on his YouTube channel that are addressing this, which can also be kind of problematic. I understand if you don't want that negativity or more fuel to the fire, but I do think it is a bit of a bad look, especially since I don't think this was addressed publicly yet by Jack. Someone did mention that it was addressed, and like the Redditor posted it was, you know, addressed, but I think it was only to the members, so it was behind a paywall, which I'm kind of conflicted on, because if it's behind a paywall, one, the public can't see it. It's not a public apology or explanation, but also it's the members who were directly affected, so it would make sense that only they would see it. But I think it'd be best if he did take that same apology and explanation and posted it publicly rather than deleting the comments, because that way people don't have to question, like, what are they talking about, if they're not in the loop. So there's that. I don't really know my total thoughts on that. I do think it's a mistake, but I think as long as he's addressed it and he removes his subscription and his memberships, and honestly, I think he should reimburse the members for at least a month and a half that they were that they had joined because they weren't given the content that they were promised. Might also be a good idea. Sorry for the vehicles in the background, but yeah, I just, you know, I don't think it's drama to cancel Jack, and the OP also said that, you know, this isn't to cancel or to be malicious towards Jack. I do think it's a good learning experience for up-and-coming creators and just for Jack himself to, you know, try and take a step back and see what they can achieve, because I know being a content creator and also working is not the easiest thing when it comes to planning things. So yeah, there's that. Hopefully Jack learns from it. Hopefully people don't try and cancel him. It's a mistake, and it's like his first mistake. And hopefully, I mean, obviously as humans, people, we're going to make plenty of mistakes. And I don't think this one should entirely define him or his character, as long as it is tended to appropriately and timely, which I think it slowly has. I'm gonna move on to our beloved plagiarizing poet, Eliza Grace. Now this is coming directly from Twitter, where Tweeter said, "How dare you call yourself a poet and write this?" And it's a bit of a generic, I wouldn't really consider it poetry, but I know, as we've had this discussion on this channel multiple times before, poetry is subjective, and I don't think we have a right to gatekeep poetry. I do think it as an art. So I think what I'm saying is, like, this is poetry, but I don't think it's good poetry. but it doesn't quite matter what I think of her poem because it might not even be her poem. So Eliza Grace has a history of plagiarizing poems. I am acquaintances with Sabina Wara viral on TikTok, and Eliza has ripped them off like word for word. She's not even trying to hide it, which is insane. And she hasn't only been ripping off Sab, she's also been ripping off Nikita Gill and Jay. I'm gonna butcher these names. I'm so sorry. And Bo Taplin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A quote from Lady Gaga. I just in this thread there's 8. No. 10. 11. 12. There's a thread of quotes and poems from better well-known poets and singers and just she's claiming as her own. They are from a small press or self-published with the bigger mainstream, with the bigger publishers, so like Amanda Lovelace and Nikita Gill. There is a lot more room in Lady Gaga for them to, handle this and to get it taken care of. But I cannot believe. But I mean, this is just. I'm so speechless. I guess that I won the I love you game more. That is such a generic quote. You can't claim that as your own. Anyways, so yeah, if you come across the poet Eliza Grace, please do not buy any of her work. Instead, report her for plagiarism, report her books, because it's not fair to the original writers who have not such a big problem that isn't talked about enough with plagiarism unless you are a bigger person, the well-known, with a bigger audience. So I think it getting traction and being on my For You page now, despite me already having known this, is good. Because that means things are getting, it's getting noticed. People are understanding, yeah, Eliza Grace is a crook. And don't buy her work. For the love of God, please don't. Moving on from the drama, I spent about 20 minutes just talking about drama because BookTube, not just BookTube, but people love drama. And only one of those 2 topics that I talked about are really worth canceling the person over. You can guess which one from my spiel already, my rants already. I'm going to talk about my TBR list. So I have Normal People by Sally Rooney, Hell Followed With Us by Andrew Joseph White, 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, and Whiskey Words and a Shovel by Whiskey Words and a Shovel 1 by R.H. Sin, which I have read before, but I need to reread it because I'm pretty sure that I read it, but I didn't read it. I got so bored. I'm talking about this last because it's horrid. It's so bad. It's disgusting. I'm giving it away as soon as I clean off my bookshelf because it's not worth having on my shelf. Taking up room for better books. I'm going to read the first sentences of my current TBR. So Normal People by Sally Rooney. Alright. January 2011. Marianne answers the door when Connell rings. I'm starting over. I looked at Connell and wait, is that Colonel? Because I'm an idiot. Marianne answers the door when Connell rings the bell. That's it. Does this hook me in? I mean, I'm compelled only because I want to know who the characters are and I really want to read this book. But if I just read it to you, would it convince you to buy Normal People? Probably not. I don't think it's a very grabby first line. mean, it brings questions like, who are these two characters? Why is Connell coming up to the house? Why is it set in January 2011 and not present day? Because a lot of books are set in not present day, or present year. I'm going to read 100 Years of Solitude, the first page, or first line. Oh, that's cool. Come to the little family tree. And like, these cute little flower designs. Do you see that? I love that. It's adorable. Alright, here we go. Many years later, as he faced the firing squad, Colonel... Give me a minute. Colonel Aureliano Buenodia was to remember that distant afternoon when his father took him to discover ice. That's a sentence. Many years later, as he faced the firing squad, Colonel Buenodia was to remember that distant afternoon when his father took him to discover ice. Why are you thinking of ice as you're about to die? Why are you being faced by the firing squad? What is happening? So many questions that I want answers to. And I'm going to get answers to because I'm going to read this right now. I really want to read it right now. I'm going to read the second line. Here's the second line. At that time, Macondo was a village of 20 adobe houses built on the bank of a river of clear water that ran along a bed of polished stones, which were white and enormous, like prehistoric eggs. The description is quite nice. Like, I wouldn't have chosen to compare polished stones to prehistoric eggs, but I don't hate it. Does that grab your attention? I think it grabbed mine. I would be interested in reading it based off that first line, I think. It's a letter from the author. Moving on to Hell Followed With Us. Ooh, it starts with an angel prayer, so I'm going to read the angel prayer and then the first line. I'm showing this like I'm reading to a group of children, but you can't even see it. It's down here. You will return to the earth, for out of it you were taken. For from dust you were made, and to dust you will return. Oh, that's just a Bible quote. Can I tell you what it is? It's in Genesis. I am an ex-Christian, I'm sorry. And it's for Lent, basically. Anyways, we're moving on. Here's the first sentence. Here's the thing about being raised an angel. You don't process grief. That is a great first sentence. I haven't really thought about angels and their place in, Christianity and in terms of like the Bible. And they don't process grief. Like I never thought of them processing anything. I want to read the first bit here, just because, like, I'm thinking this first line is inspiration for so many fun things. Here's the thing about being raised an angel: you don't process grief. Grief is a sin. Loss is God's design, and to mourn the dead is to insult His vision. To despair at His will is sacrilege. Sacrilege. Yeah. How dare you betray His plan by grieving what was... This is so difficult for me to read. How dare you betray His plan by grieving what was always His to take? Unfaithful, disgusting heretic. You should be hung from the wall so that non-believers will know what's coming from them. Romans chapter 6:23. For the wages of sin is death. This first bit, I have a complicated relationship with the religion I was grown up in. So this current alley. Are we back? The connection out here is so bad. Reclaiming like on like, you know, their own words, and discussing how things in the Bible are kind of sus. Like, God promised Abraham and Sarah a child, and yet they had to wait like till they were 99 years old just to get that child, and then later on as that child grows up, God's like, go sacrifice your son that you've waited basically an eternity for. And Abraham wants to do it. And then God's like, psych. I was only kidding. That's... I can never get behind that story. Like, why? There's so many ways you can test someone's beliefs in you where it doesn't involve them to murder the son forever for. So I actually might read this book, Hell Followed With Us, first, because I am in the mood for angsty religion hate, you know? But yes, I'm gonna go inside and read this right after the live stream. Next one is Whiskey Words and a Shovel 1 by Richardson. As you can tell, I have read this, and as I've said, I've read it. I'm gonna read the first poem. Now, I have a complicated thing. I said that poetry is subjective. It's allowed to be unique and abstract and insane. I don't think this book is poetry. I don't know. I don't... It's just quotes. Like, if that's how I can describe it better, it's just quotes. Like, look at this. Okay, I hate it. I hate this book so much. And I'm going to read the first poem. Because I can't really read the first line. I mean, I could, but I'm going to read the first poem. Which... Okay. This is going to be an Richardson rant, but I do want to make a separate thing on this. Anyways, notes to the neglected ones. 1. Young girls neglected by their fathers, forced to grow up like plants without sunlight, without care, without that love, and so they search for that love in the arms of boys who are incapable of loving them in ways which they desire. That's the first stanza. I hate Richardson. I am going to do a brief discussion where I just explain why I hate this book so much and Richardson's writing so much. 1, because I think the poems are shallow. I don't think it's got anything worthwhile in it, which you don't need. Like, a poem doesn't have to be worthwhile to enjoy. I just think, I don't know how to describe it without contradicting myself, but this is just trash. Let me point out 2 things. So Richardson writes with no punctuation, which is, like, it has punctuation, but it's kind of odd. So a lot of times, I even do this myself, no punctuation, you either go all out, so you don't, like, capitalize your I's or things like that, you don't have periods or commas, or you go all in and you do all of that. He has, like, all lowercase except for the I's, and no periods or, like, commas and such, which I feel is weird. Like, if you're gonna at least, like, he doesn't capitalize the first letter of his lines or stanzas, but it will capitalize the I's. Like, just stick to the style. I hate it. But I'm going to read Split to you, and pay attention to the words, because it's going to be very important when I discuss the rest of this book. Split. You were never the one, this was never love, and we were never meant to live happily together. You were simply necessary. I had to be hurt by you in order to find my strength. Remember that last line. I had to be hurt by you to remember my strength. Or in order to find my strength. Okay. I'm going to read Beyond Your Past. Come, allow me to help you bury your past and let us give life to our future. Remember those two. Now think of split in the line I told you to remember. That was on page 22. This page, 116, Necessary Evils. I believe you were simply necessary. I had to get hurt by you in order to find my strength. Do you remember that? You were simply necessary. I had to be hurt by you in order to find my strength, was said on page 22. And the same damn thing was said on page 116. Those aren't two separate poems. This is... The next one I'm reading is page... Let me make sure my page isn't marked. 248. And we are going to remember page 78, Beyond Our Past, when we read Us, Our Future. Come here. I'll help you bury your past. We'll give life to our future. It's the same damn thing in frickin' Beyond Your Past. Allow me to help you bury your past. Let us give life to our future. Like, I cannot believe this was published. Like, not only is the writing shallow, the style not kept consistent throughout the work, and just being a ripoff, the poems are, it's like taking one long poem and then stealing the last stanza and just making it a separate poem farther on in the book, hoping people don't notice. But guess what? We noticed. Why? Because your book is so shit that it takes like 30 seconds to fucking read. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm not. I have a vendetta against A.R. Richardson. A lot of people do. I am tired of him writing like he's the savior for women. I'm tired of him writing about women's stories, and then when women are like, hey, we're actually not interested in you writing about our stories, could you instead maybe like lift up our own voices, or maybe write about your own experiences being a man with, you know, a bad relationship with parents, or like toxic masculinity. Like, he just ignores that. I know many of us in the community, and by many of us I mean Sally Loon, who wrote I Want to Be the Voice Inside Your Head, and Catherine Hancock, who wrote Sometimes Fall Asleep Thinking About You, and Shades of Lovers, and just a handful of poets bonded together for the hashtag romanticize sad girls, because that's what this is. They're basically romanticizing sad girls. And we said that, you know, these are our stories. Why don't you lift our voices up, our stories up, rather than writing over us, rather than talking over us? And he just ignores it. And in fact, he just blocks us. Yeah, he blocks us. I could go on all day about how much I hate this work. And I want to donate it to my library because their poetry selection is sort of lacking. They might actually already have this, and it wouldn't make the poetry section any better, but I don't want it. Maybe someone else does. And if you do, I'm sorry. Please let this just be a gateway into being like, oh, is this what poetry is? It's bad. Let me seek out more poetry that could be better. Like, don't let this turn you off from poetry, because poetry is such an art. It's such a beautiful language. It is so, you know, this isn't though. I would throw it in a dumpster fire. That's the real drama. R.H. just pushing out book after book after book full of all this bullcrap. Like, the only good thing is the ASMR. That's it. That's all this book's got going for it. That's about it. I hate this book. So yeah, that's the tea. R.H. sucks. This is an R.H. hate account. Just like we are Colleen Hoover disappointed, maybe hate account as well. Thanks for tuning in to my live stream. I'm trying to do these more often because, like I said in my past one, filming videos is kind of difficult not the filming part, it's the editing part. I hate editing. So me doing a live stream, I get to be upfront, I get to respond to things, you know, the questions and comments that come on in, real time, and I don't have to worry about editing. And if I do decide to edit, well, I've got it filmed and I'm not wasting space on my phone or my laptop to edit, you know? So, yeah. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked the rants for today. It was very much a book tea video or live stream. Maybe next time it won't be. I'm hoping next time we can discuss books that I read, or like, you know, blind dates with a book, or perhaps my work that is coming out. I do have a book coming out this year. It's titled The Edge of Hope with Querencia Press. Actually, it's coming out with Q, which is an imprint of Querencia, which is the mother press. They've published my book, Girl. I'll have more details. I'm working through the edits now. I'm supposed to be doing them right now. I took a break to rant. So yeah, exciting news later this year. Thank you for watching, and have a great day, and have a good time zone wherever you are. A good night, a good day, a good afternoon, and stay safe. Bye!